Warning: the following video may be offensive or push people outside of their comfort zones. The opinions in this video are solely based on the individual host and does not represent the thoughts or ideas of the Faulkner County Library, Faulkner County, their employees, agencies, volunteers, residents, elected officials, or anyone else not participating in the video. This video was created as an attempt to get a conversation started in the hopes to help heal a wounded nation.
Hi, my name is Kara Dyer.
And I'm Bobby.
And we are with the Faulkner County Library. And today on Topic Talk, we're going to try and get another conversation started about
racism
and moving forward without color. Can we do it? So we know that this is going to be a touchy subject for a lot of people and make a lot of people uncomfortable, but right now with everything going on, we feel like that this is definitely a topic that we need to talk about.
And it's not intended for any arguments, just a conversation. You can have a difference of opinion, you can have a different point of view, but try to listen to the other person and see where they're coming from, and maybe we can have a decent conversation about this.
And we don't know the answers, and we don't have the solution, and we're actually not even trying to find a solution. We're just trying to get people to talk to each other and get to know each other and find out what the root of racism is. And when we were talking about it, one of the things that we both agreed upon is fear.
Right.
So is racism based on fear, the things that you don't know? We were talking about, how people feel it's real. It doesn't matter if I'm scared of a spider and you're not scared of a spider, the fact that you're not scared of a spider doesn't make me any less scared of a spider. So I've never been bitten by a spider, but I have had one jump on me.
I haven't been by a spider.
You have?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
What kind?
Yes, it was a regular house spider, but it just left a little knot. It wasn't poisonous or anything. But
I had a lady one time, she got bit on the leg by a spider and it just rotted away. It was gross.
No,
Yeah.
That was a brown recluse.
Oh,
no.
Well, yeah. So anyway, I don't like spiders. I don't like snakes. So that was a little bit off topic. So anyway.
Okay, so one of the things we want to talk about is the root of racism, and where does it come from? My personal views is that it comes from hatred and not knowing. You don't know the other person, so you kind of create stereotypes, and you kind of get patterns in your head. You see things on the news, you see things in the public that shape your idea of people, and that causes you to build up a certain hatred, that causes you to build up a certain idea of this is that person. Do you agree?
I definitely agree. And I'm not saying that I am racist because I don't believe that I am, but I probably do have some tendencies, and if I ever do, I want you to call me out on it.
No problem.
Okay. So
me the same way.
Yeah, but we went to school with black people, but we lived in different areas of the town. And one of my best friends was a black girl, but I wasn't able to ride the school bus to her house. It was the norm, but that shouldn't be the norm. But it didn't make me afraid. To be honest with you, it made me say, well, this is stupid. I'm not this. When I get older, this is not the way I'm going to be,
Right.
Because judging someone by their color was ignorance, in my personal opinion. But when we were talking earlier about racism and about experiences, because right now everybody is talking about cops and
police brutality.
It's all racially directed and stuff. And we were talking about, have we ever had experiences with cops where we felt that it was racially
motivated?
Mm-hmm. And you
I
had
have had an experience back in college when I was in a gym playing basketball. Me and my little brother, we decided to leave early. We got our stuff and we walked out of the gym and went back to the room and came back over to the gym because the gym was a part of the cafeteria. So we were going to the cafeteria when we were stopped. And we were told that I had taken one of the guys' keys. The other guys happened to be white guys, and they believed that I had took their keys, their car keys. So the cop that approached us pulled me and my brother to the side. He was like, I know you have them. We have video evidence of you taking these keys, and these people are saying that you got them. So I need to search your room and see if you have these keys. So I knew I didn't have the keys, so I had no problem with being searched. I thought it was a normal police procedure. I was like, okay, well, let's go over to the room. We walk into the room, and he starts making comments like, you're going to jail. I know you guys got, and I'm not going to have this off you. And to me, it became an anger. You could feel the anger in it. And as he's getting angry, my little brother's getting angry, and he's telling him, I want to speak to your boss and all. So we get to the room, and this cop searches the room, but there was no keys there. So he shuts the door to the room, and he puts his hand on his gun. And me having my back to him, I didn't know what was going on. I hear my brother when he says, oh, you're going to shoot us over some keys? And when I turn around, you could see the anger in this cop's face. You could see that he was ready to kill us over keys, over what he thought was keys. And honestly, we didn't have any keys. So I think he was embarrassed because he walks out of the door. He's telling us that I'll be back, I'll be back. But we never seen anything from him that night. So we're standing outside, and the guy who lost his keys walks up to me and say, hey, one of my other buddies took my keys by accident. And we found him that night. And I'm standing there like, well, he never said it. He never even came back and said anything to us. He never even. Next thing, only thing we knew is that we were going to jail later that night because he was coming back.
Right.
So the instance, like, it's, to me and my brother could have been shot over keys that we didn't have, and it was all because he suspected us of taking them because we were the only two black kids in the gym that day.
Right.
So.
And we were talking about, later on that has actually influenced you and has caused you to be.
Yeah. Because now I'm nervous anytime I get pulled over. Now, anytime the police approach my car or I see the blue lights on my car, the first thing that hits my mind is, God, don't let him shoot me with my daughter in his car. Or praying that he doesn't think that me going for my wallet is me going for a gun.
Right.
So before I get in the car now, I'm strategically thinking about where do I need to place my wallet so it doesn't look like I'm reaching for any weapons, or what do I need to say, or what do I need to do. And my only solution is put both hands on your steering wheel and not move.
Right.
Like, I'm not giving my ID. I'll give you all the information, but I'm not reaching for anything because I don't want my daughter's last vision of me to be hanging over a steering wheel, bleeding to death.
Right.
That's in my head now. That's something that I gotta think is reality because we've seen it happen before.
Right. And Bobby and I were talking, my incident is totally different than his, but I got pulled over for running a red light one time, and I actually have my concealed carry license, and at that time I did not have a weapon in the vehicle, but when I got pulled over, I was a nervous wreck because I was afraid, because I knew I had to show him that I had a concealed carry, and so I immediately showed him that, and I was like a blooming idiot, just like speaking just like in tongue or whatever.
Right.
Making any kind of sense.
Just nervous.
Yeah, nervous, but my feeling of nervousness and my fear, like anybody that gets pulled over by the police officer is nervous automatically.
Right.
But we were talking about, we both have fear, but our fear is different.
It's different.
And so I can't say that you weren't right in your fear, as if you can't say that I wasn't right in my fear. So if we just look at this situation and understand that fear is real, no matter what. And we have been told, we have been taught, we watch things on TV, we watch movies. My dad has a basement, and the minute I turn off the light in the basement, I run up those steps because Freddy Krueger is out to get me, and I have never seen Freddy Krueger a day in my life except for Halloween.
Exactly.
But it has influenced the idea that something is out to get you, and that fear is so real, and we are so motivated by fear
Right.
and things that we don't understand. And so what's the conversation that we need to have to get past that fear of seeing your skin color as a fear? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life, to look at your skin color and to say you're evil.
Right. And I think a lot of it is unknowing. Like you said, because we're so motivated by what we see, and but we don't never take the time to get to know.
Right.
We don't know that this person is also a father. We don't know that this person is also a brother or a sister. We don't know what this person is doing in their daily life. All we know is the perception that we have of that person because of what we've seen, or because of preconceived ideas that we've made up in our heads about this person.
Right.
So I think one of the things is just, you have to attribute worth to people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at a person and actually attribute worth to them. You have to say, okay, somebody loves this person. Somebody gave birth to this person. This person may be responsible for so many other lives. It's just not this person. And when we see that, then we start to humanize people. We don't see color, we see humans.
Right. And that's our whole point, is to stop seeing color.
Right.
To stop, I mean, if I were to cut your arm right now, which I'm not, because
I hope
I'm
not. I'm not prepared for
and
that.
if you were to cut my arm, we would both bleed red.
Right.
You know, and it's like, if you needed blood, I could give you blood. If I needed blood, you could give me blood.
Right.
That would save my life. If I was hurting and I needed someone to be a friend to me and to give me encouragement, you could do that for me.
That's
it
right.
has nothing to do with your skin.
Color.
It has nothing to do with whether you're male or female. It has everything to do with empathy and love and
That's right.
who we are as people
And
understanding. Because like the time that you and your daughter came to the house, and just to see you play with your daughter and have the love and the joy, and just like what you said, you know, I'm a father, and just to have that fear of protecting your daughter, especially in a society that right now is in such turmoil. How do you explain that to her? How do you?
It's difficult, because during the protest, one of the things I wanted her to do was to see what a real peaceful protest looks like, and to understand why the people were protesting. But at the same time, I don't want her to grow up with a fear that if something happens, I can't call the police.
Right.
So, or I don't want her to grow up with the fear that the police are my enemy. I don't want that. I don't want her to have a society to where she don't think that there's no help, or there's, you know, the only way I'm going to get help is that somebody's going to get killed.
Right.
I don't know the balance in that line. All I can tell her is that I know good cops.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up around good cops. I have cops in my family. I know good cops, but there are bad cops out there too.
Right. Well, there are bad people out there of every color. Yeah.
Right. And
so it's like, it's just, you know, we go through life in society and we automatically just allow sometimes our fears to cloud our judgment, and so we automatically put a image or a stereotype or a whatever on a certain group or a certain person or whatever, and we just don't take the time to, like you said, humanize people. So I don't even remember where I was going with that. So
you sounded good. It sounded good. Like I was following.
Yeah, well, it's your turn now, because I got lost.
We kind of don't take the time to humanize people, and that causes hatred, and that causes preconceived ideas, and that causes racism to stir up. But what's the solution? The truth is, the solution is there is no solution. You have to start to humanize people. You have to start to take people out of those stereotypes. Everyone does not fit in the same box.
Right.
Everyone that you see on the street are not trying to get you, are not trying to do harm, or not trying. They could simply be going to the store to get tea and Skittles.
Exactly. I love Skittles. I eat them in the color groups.
That could just be it. But if you look at this person and say, oh, he's a thug, oh, he's up to no good, you could cause one bad decision to domino into other bad decisions.
Exactly. And like, there are bad people of every color, of every race,
Right.
of there's just genuinely bad people, and we're not saying that you should
Trust everyone.
trust everyone. You should go out into a dark alley with $1 million in your pocket in the middle of New York and think that
Broadcast is live on Facebook.
yeah,
No.
and think that everything is going to be okay, because it's probably not.
No.
But at the same time, walking down the street and judging someone based on their skin color and thinking that you've got to hide your purse or you have to cover yourself or whatever is a little bit ignorant, in the respect that this man right here and
If you see me out,
me,
if
we
you
are
see me out at that
homeless.
time of morning, my only goal is to get home.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all I'm thinking. Get home as fast as I can. So it's
But see,
not
the
crime,
thing about
it's
that
just
is
going home.
the thing about that is you shouldn't feel that. You shouldn't have to feel that way. You should be able to walk out of your home. I should be able to walk out of my home. You should be able to walk out of your home, go wherever you want to go, and not be afraid. And to know that if something does happen where you do need help, that you're safe to call the police, and the police will come and treat you as equally as they treat me, and treat me as equally as they treat you. That you are safe in this society, and that the government and the police are there to protect you. I don't know what your feelings are on police officers, but you did say that was a good thing. But I know that they're trying to disband, that there are certain areas that are wanting to disband the police. I just know that for me, it's nice to know that there are police officers out there who are willing to protect the military. I'm pleased that we have the military because they're willing to protect. There are always, no matter where we are, even in this library, there are people that won't help you find a book if you ask them.
Right.
You know, so
I am all for good police officers.
And
I'm
yes.
all for good policing. I'm all for, each community having police officers that are there to protect and serve. I am not for any kind of racial discrimination, any kind of brutality, any kind of excessive use of force. And I know each matter is different, but what I feel like is there has to be a reform. There has to be some more guidelines put into place as to where it becomes more of a protecting and serving when you get called out. And when you have a person apprehended, it becomes the first job is to protect and serve the apprehended person, because we live in a society where we say everyone is innocent until proven guilty. So that person has to be treated as an innocent person until he's proven guilty. And we also live in a society where we say there's liberty and justice for all. So no matter what that person did before, we're saying that he deserves liberty and justice. So I feel like each person has to be treated first as a human being.
Absolutely.
Even the officers that are involved, you have to treat officers as human beings. You have to pay officers with the respect that they are police officers, that they are putting their life at risk, and that they, in many cases, they're just as scared as we are sometimes. Yeah. We didn't address that, but I feel like sometimes officers are just as scared as we are because they're facing a lot of unknowns as well.
Right.
So I'm all for good police officers, nothing against them. I'm not for disbanding any police officers. What I am for is a reform in the police officers to make sure that they follow guidelines and then make sure that they are, held accountable for their actions. Mm-hmm. Other than that, then.
And going back to the root of fear, when you were saying, the police officers are afraid as well, and they've been taught, I'm sure, in many instances, a stereotype of like. Even when they're looking for a serial killer, they have a profile that they are looking for of this person, and in a sense that's stereotyping. That's putting a group together and saying this is what we're looking for. So, how do we break out of that that putting people in a box and stereotyping them, yes, sometimes and a lot of times maybe it's right, but at the same time, you can't put everything in a box, because not everybody fits in the box. I mean, look at us; we're totally outside, totally outside the box.
I think we should look into like getting the robot police officers like Will Smith was.
No, because if we do that, then like they'll take over the world, and then we'll be like, yeah, no.
It will really be a Will Smith.
We really would be. No, I don't. Yeah, I know nothing about computers, so I would be like,
lost?
I would be, yeah, I'd be like, okay, just whatever. I'm done. Yeah. So I don't know, Bobby.
I don't know either. But the thing is, we're not experts.
We are not.
We're not claiming to be experts.
And I think that that's pretty obvious.
We're not claiming to have all of the solutions here. What our intent is to get you talking.
Yes, and just trying to find the root of the problem. And we both believe that, or I say that I'm speaking for me, not for you, but I do believe that fear is the root of racism and the cause of us not understanding and just reacting to a situation that we're not really sure about, because that's the way we've been programmed, that's the way we've been told, we haven't really studied it for ourselves, but we are just there is
and not in a bad way. It's just an ignorance there to where like you haven't really educated yourself on other aspects. You've seen one thing on the news and that's all.
Exactly.
So there is an ignorance there. And only thing that beats ignorance is education.
That's true. And in an instance where you have actually gone through something though, so let's go back to that where, I have never been held a gun to or whatever. A man, that would scare the hoo out of me. But anyway, but you have been in a situation where you have literally felt threatened,
and it was the scariest situation.
Yes.
I've ever
So so for you, how do you get past that fear when you've actually experienced it? I've never experienced a spider bite, so I don't know. Like I just step on spiders now.
Right.
But how do you?
Some animal rights person mad about.
Sorry. But yeah, probably so. Man, this is not a PETA. This is not a PETA podcast. This is all about racism. Let's get back on the subject.
Spiders. Okay.
Yeah, we don't. We put them outside.
But how do I get past it?
Yeah. So for instance, we're talking about fear, and the solution is getting past the fear. How do we get past the fear that we've actually experienced?
And this is the scary part. I don't think you get past it. And the climate that it is today, I don't think I can get past it. Like, when the police pull me over, my first thought is going to automatically be to look and see if Wendy's in the car. My first thought is going to automatically
You should know whether Wendy's in the car.
I'm just saying. It just happens so fast.
Yeah,
just like,
I'm just saying people have gone to prison for forgetting their kids are in the car. I'm just saying.
Is she there? And if she is there, like, what do I do? So, like, I was laughing with one of the officers that come here, and I was telling him, I was like, I have just decided I'm not moving. I'm just not going to move. I was like, no matter what goes on, my hands are going to be on the steering wheel. If you shoot me, you're going to intend to shoot me. It's going to be no questions asked. You wanted to take my life that day.
And what did he say?
He was saying that, okay, that's just stupid, Bobby, because you can get your license, you can get your registration. That's not going to cause any problems. But I'm like, dude, there's been people shot for less. Mm-hmm. Like, reaching into a glove box to get my registration, and the cop is standing there with his hand on his gun. It's like, there have been people shot for less.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's an argument against that when you can turn on the TV and find, like, people that are getting shot for having a cell phone in their hand. Mm-hmm. Like, so he was like, well, we're going to allow you to get your license. We're going to allow you to get your registration. Like, but how are you going to tell me you will? Mm-hmm. I understand. You say you will. But what about your partner?
Right. So here's my question though. Like if we're talking about fear is the problem and we're not, what would help you get past that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because anytime there's a threat of someone's life, it's going to be hard to get past, past that threat. I mean, I have friends that are police officers, and so I do know, I have family members that were police officers, so I do know that they're good cops, and I do know that they're bad cops. But at the same time, I see the news, and I see what's going on in the news, and I read stories about this and about that, and that creates that in your head that when you get pulled over, am I next? That's the question.
So, and we were talking about earlier about, Jason, Freddy Krueger on TV and stuff. Are we saying that a lot of that fear is because of media? I mean, because
I'm not going to say it's because of media per se, but I am going to say it's maybe media driven.
Yeah, because we don't see every incident on the news. Like they select and choose what.
Like you don't see when a stop goes good.
Exactly.
Let the person off on a warning. You don't see that many instances. But what we do see is the instances where this person is shot and this person is killed, or this person is, taken to jail or treated badly on the way to jail. We see those instances.
We do.
But like you say, we don't see as many instances as good cops.
Right. And maybe that's what another thing that needs to happen is a change in media. And about I don't know. I don't know because we need a reform. We do need a reform.
We actually need a reform in the police, and that would be a huge step. If I didn't feel like, okay, this officer's going to shoot me, then tonight they're going to set up a GoFundMe account. He's going to have a paid vacation, and then he'll start back on his life. But I'm dead.
Okay.
So let's start a reform. Let's hold officers in accountability. Let's say, okay, this person, let's set up a guideline, and I don't know what that guideline is. I'm not gonna claim a guideline, but let's set up a guideline to where if someone is killed or if someone is treated badly, then that person is held responsible. That officer is held responsible.
And in the past couple of cases, they have been.
They have been.
And so
we have been saying arrest, which is totally different from anything in the past. So we have been saying arrest.
So there is a movement toward that, and there is. I'm not a police officer, and I have not gone through the academy. My husband was a police officer for 9 years, and I don't know what he went through on training and stuff. And now he has a really good friend that's still a police officer that helps us at the comic book convention and stuff. And, I don't know what academy they go to. I don't know what their training is. I don't know what that is. So for me to say, this is what you need to do, and this, I can't say that.
I can't either.
But
I can't say it either. All I know is that if some of the instances that we've seen on TV, that there has to be a reform from that. Right. There has to be a better way to treat people. There has to be a better way to act. There even has to be a better way and I'm not going to put all the blame on officers. I may get a little flack on this, but I'm not going to put all the blame on officers, because I feel like there are good officers out there, and a lot.
Do you believe that there's more good officers than bad officers, or do you think it's 50-50, or?
I don't know. I know that from what we see on TV, we see more bad officers.
Okay, but do you think that that's media related, because that's what they want you to see, because that's what's getting the conversation that's what's getting people talking and getting more news out?
Again, I feel like it is motivated by a lot of the media. I don't feel like it's solely the media's fault. I don't think it's solely anyone's fault. But if we have noticed in our society that if this draws news, then this is going to get the headlines. Right. We have noticed that. We have noticed that if this doesn't draw news, then this gets pushed back. Even though this may have been a way more important event, but it gets pushed back because it's not going to draw the views. It's not going to draw the attention of so many people. Right. So, yeah, that is so true. The media is driven by money. The media is driven by views. The media is driven by by what they think is going to create the biggest controversy and get people talking and get people watching their station or buying their newspapers or whatever it's going to get. So yeah, that is the problem, but at the same time, there's a bigger issue there.
Yeah. Well, and there's always been an issue there with race but I don't necessarily think that it's all just the police. I think it's a society as a whole. And so I don't think
it's an imbalance there.
I just don't know
It's
that
definitely
it's fair to say, like it's all on the police, but because right now that's just what's in the media. But I think we all inside of us have some kind of like racist or stereotype or a fear of the unknown of a person that we see on the street. Because even there are even white people that when I walk by them, I'm like, I'm not really sure I should walk that way. I probably should walk a different way, just because of the stereotype and the way that they look and just, and I'm not better than anybody. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there's like a little tinge inside of you that I think you should listen to. If you feel a threat or if you feel uneasy about something, you should respond to that. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But I do believe that there is something wrong with responding to something based on skin color or of just a stereotype, exactly, and not really having any basis on it other than that's what you've heard, that's what you've been told. But if there is like this gut-wrenching, okay, something is not right about this, you should listen to that. But just in general, I don't necessarily believe, well, not saying don't necessarily, I don't believe that you should judge anyone based on color. When I'm describing you, I should be able to describe you as a tall man with a goatee, little
I get
scruffy.
Tall, bald head, black man all the time.
but I'm just saying, like, with a description, I'm gonna have to use your color to actually describe you, but not to physically, only to physically describe you, not to personally describe you. Because if I was personally describing you, I would say he is a hard worker, he is a great father, he loves his family, and he works at the library and he loves his job and he works hard and he is a really good friend. And
those are all nice things.
Well, that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. You are my friend, Bobby. I'm not going to ask you how you describe me, but anyway. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to describe a person without having to use their color, and to just be able to say genuinely who you are, and people know who you are based on the experience that they've had with you, rather than just say he's the black man that works at the library.
Small black man
that works at the library. I don't think the color has anything to do with anything.
It really plays such a small part, like in everything. So I think, like we said, educate yourself. Attribute worth to people. Like, stop throwing away people just because of the idea that you see on TV. Attribute worth to that person. Just know that that person was born by someone that loved them and cared for them. And that there's someone in this world that benefits from that person being alive. And
they hurt just like you hurt. And they fear just like you fear. And they want to be loved just like you want to be loved. And so, with all that being said, love is a solution. And I think that if we would just love one another, see each other as human beings, and if you don't understand someone, ask them. Ask them to start a conversation. What do you like? I like pizza. I don't really like pizza as much as some people like pizza, but we can talk about some pizza.
And one more idea. Stop shutting down just because someone has a different opinion of you or a different idea that you have. actually start talking to people. Find out where they're getting this. Point of views make a lot of difference. And if you look outside of your point of view, you might see something different. So just actually start talking to people, get that conversation going. Don't shut down on them. Don't be like, oh, you know what? I'm unfriending them because he had a different. Talk to that person. And it doesn't have to be a public conversation. Send them a private message or pull them to the side and say, hey, I want to get your views on this and understand, get where you're getting this from. You can be the person that changes that person's mind or
and two, just because you have different opinions and you don't agree on the same thing doesn't necessarily mean that you can't love that person or care for that person or be a good person to that person just because you have totally different views and beliefs. Even though we are friends, we don't agree on everything, and we'll never agree on everything because we're individuals.
I say 75% of the time we agree on.
Yeah, I would say 75.
80, something like
that. Depends on the subject. Yeah. But just because we disagree on something doesn't mean that I don't care for him, that I wouldn't give my life for him, that I wouldn't do whatever it took for him. So just know that we can coexist, not totally agree on everything that life has in front of us, but skin color has nothing to do with any of it. Love each other, care for each other, and let's get this conversation started.
All right.